Welcome to another Meet the Member episode here. And today we're going to spend some time getting to know Blair Jacobs. So, one of our OG members who's been with us really since the get go, but also has been doing CrossFit for a long time. So, Blair, thanks for spending some time to let us get to know you a little bit today.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, I've been at Greater Culture since y'all kind of opened your doors or your garage, for that matter. Yeah, I've been doing CrossFit, I believe, since 2019, so about 5 years, officially. But before then, I would drop in on a couple workouts like community WODs and such, um, to dip my toe in the water and such, and I got hooked.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what led you to even wanting to dip your toe in the water or test it out. What were things looking like in terms of health and fitness for you as you were, transitioning out of school and kind of figuring things out post college life?
Yeah. Well, the biggest motivator, surprise, surprise, is the fact that my sister Chelsea was one of the coaches, and the influencer that she is, definitely recommended those community WODs and just made it sound like such a great thing to do. Yeah, like her, uh, the way that she talked about it and the way that I experienced that community from afar, and also when I was there for those WODs and such, really is what grabbed me and got me excited about that type of fitness.
What did fitness look like you before jumping into CrossFit? Because I think a lot of folks have similar perspectives of they might look at some of the workouts or they look at what people are doing and they're like, I don't know, that doesn't seem like that's for me. So, what
Yeah.
did you enjoy doing for movement and fitness before trying out CrossFit?
Well, before CrossFit, I did do sports in high school and before then as well. And then when it was college and I was using their gym and rec center and such, I would look up um, similar style workouts, like the high intensity sort of things, and change some things around. Took a weightlifting class there, and CrossFit's kind of that culmination of all of those elements, without me having to figure out the programming myself.
It's kind of nice to have that take that thought process off the plate of like, I know so many times people will go to either Instagram
Hmm.
or YouTube or the internet to search for like, hey, what should I do? What kind of movements should I try? And folks find their way into a gym and follow those
Hmm.
types of programs, which can be great and can be a lot of fun. And then when you get into a more structured environment, it's like, okay, I don't have to actually spend time or energy worrying about what type of workouts to do or what that looks like. So then once you started to dip your toe in the
Hmm.
water and find your way into the CrossFit gym, talk us through a little bit about what the initial phase of that journey was, being somebody who was athletic back in high school and enjoyed that aspect of it. What was that initial phase of CrossFit like for you?
Well, I think this kind of happens with most people when they begin, and especially coming from competitive sports, that competitive sort of aspect of CrossFit, and not only the games and such, but also in within the gym and like the daily workouts and such. So that definitely was something that I had latched onto in the early days of CrossFit, and sometimes that wasn't to my benefit. Just trying to get that RX, or that top score or whatever, but that didn't always lead to the smartest decisions or the best form. So that was definitely my personal learning curve, is to approach CrossFit not only as competition, which it can be, and I think it's still a good thing to do, but also having the ability to approach it as a more holistic type lifestyle, or more for the purpose of moving and getting in fitness rather than winning the workout.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of us go through that phase of we enjoy the feeling we get, we enjoy the fitness that it's giving us, but there's also this score and is it RX or scaled? So we work really, really hard to be able to do things RX.
Mhm.
And then you get to a certain point where you're like, all right, we're out of the honeymoon phase. I've been doing this for a while. Maybe I've seen some of those PRs or some of those changes in my personal appearance that I'm looking for. And then you kind of settle in to life of CrossFit for health and general wellness. So 5 years
Mhm.
in, what are some of the things that you still enjoy about CrossFit that keeps you coming back time and time again?
I mean, pretty much the same things that got me in the first place. Like I said, the community is definitely the biggest part of it. And I think with, at least with how it's at greater culture, it's, definitely encourages that approach of, holistic health and everything. And the way that we talk about workouts, it's like what is the purpose of the workout? Is it for this type of stimulation? Is it more about volume? Is it more about speed? That sort of thing. And so that helps reframe or focus you into the different workouts. And that's definitely what I've always enjoyed and continue to enjoy as well.
Yeah, it's kind of helpful to have a sense or an idea of, hey, what are we trying to accomplish with the workout today? Because the rep schemes change, the time domains, the movements change every day. So sometimes it can be
Hmm.
challenging to be like, okay, what are we focusing on? What am I trying to
Yeah.
get out of this workout for today? What kind of weight should I choose?
Yeah.
And so it's
And,
helpful to
and
have a coach guide you through that.
yeah. And sometimes you may not be feeling your best. And so if you know the purpose is to get more volume rather than to do the weight, it helps inform you how to better scale the workouts. And kind of touching back on, it's not always about winning the workout. It's about getting in your fitness and being healthy.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I always find fascinating is when we start focusing on our health and fitness and staying committed to routines and habits as to what the either motivation is or what the drive is. And everybody works out for different reasons, they show up consistently for different
Hmm.
purposes. So, how would or what would you say is your sort of why behind why you like to focus on your health and fitness by being part of a gym and going consistently?
Gotcha. I think long-term goal is honestly just longevity. I want to be, I like my independence and I want to keep that for as long as I possibly can. And it's kind of one of those things, a body in motion stays in motion. So that consistency helps build that, continually builds whatever my foundation is, which is, a moving target as you continue to train or continue to learn new things. So that would be my number one goal, is kind of the longevity of having a healthy and mobile lifestyle. It's going to be different in each phase of life. And um, if it helps it be smoother, the older I get, the better I think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the ability to say yes to whatever adventures life throws at you or whatever challenges is always really, really helpful. So being
Mhm.
able to do that for the long haul is great. And so having been in CrossFit now for 5 years, it's always fascinating for me as well to hear what are some of like the upcoming goals or what are people trying to work on, because those can change over time. So for you,
Yeah.
what would you say are some of the things that you're either working on or some of those goals or aspirations, whether it's movements or weights or just in general? What are some of those goals that you're striving towards?
I think, um, I guess I don't wouldn't say new goal. It's always been a part of it, but I think I'll be more focused on it and actually try to achieve it versus saying, yeah, this is something I'm trying to do and then not really put in the work. Is that skill building asset or aspect? I think I've gotten to a place to where I can move weight on the barbell pretty well and do some of the work on the rigs, but there's definitely more of those complex skills like double unders, anything handstand related, muscle ups, those sorts of things that require a bit more coordination and sometimes courage.
Yeah,
Are definitely things that I want to focus on and get better, because I feel like that's uh, the biggest thing I'm missing. Like, yes, I'm not, as far as the weight on the barbell or anything like that, like it's not exactly where I want it, but it's in a good spot to where I can still see the progress. But because it's a slower progress, I want to look at the different skills and see how I can add more to kind of my toolbox.
yeah, absolutely. It's like once you build sort of the requisite strength to be able to accomplish these other tasks and skills, now it's
Hmm.
fun to say, okay, how do I go about getting better at things on the pull up bar or getting upside down or even skills like double under? So it's fun to challenge
Hmm.
yourself and find new movements and new skills to unlock. And so with that, I've got a couple quick hitter
Hmm.
type questions for you along the lines of things that you either enjoy or maybe dread a little bit. So we'll start with the things you enjoy. So what would you say is your favorite movement or piece of equipment that when it's programmed, you look forward to those days in the gym?
Definitely the barbell. I think a clean is my favorite movement. I don't always like the jerk, but I definitely like a clean. And I know this is kind of an unpopular opinion, but I don't mind thrusters either.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that I would say that's a surprise pick amongst CrossFitters. It's like running and thrusters are the two like no-nos.
Yeah,
Stay away from
I
those as much as
definitely,
possible.
yeah, I definitely prefer barbell thrusters than dumbbell thrusters. I don't know
Mm,
what it is about those dumbbells, but they make it 10 times harder.
I 100% agree. 100% agree on that. So let's flip it then. What would you say is your least favorite movement or piece of equipment that when you see it programmed, you dread it a little bit?
Probably anything with double dumbbells. Whether it's box step ups, but the biggest one that I don't enjoy the most would probably be double dumbbell snatches or cleans. It's just because they're so awkward. And I feel like I can't, they're just so awkward that I don't feel confident in the form
Mhm.
at usually the RX weight. It's, if it were a single dumbbell, the RX weight would be fine. But because it's so cumbersome, like, do I hold them inside? Do I hold them outside? How do I compensate for some instability on one side versus the other? Um, they're just not my favorite. I feel like it's a bit risky for me, but it's just an awkward movement and it's not my favorite.
Yeah, it definitely brings to light the differences in strength too. All of a sudden, like one arm's like doing more work than the other arm, and you're like, "What's going on here? Like, why can't
Mhm,
they just work together and make this easier?" So, yeah, double dumbbell movements. So,
mhm.
along the lines of working out, then, what would you say is your favorite type of music to work out to if you got the choice?
High energy. So whether that be pop, rap, or as what's usually at the gym, big booty mixes,
Hmm.
definitely something that has a higher beat, um, rather than anything that's more of a, I don't know, more of a slower pace. I think is
Yeah, no
almost more
country.
distracting to me during workouts. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or
All
slower
right. So,
pop
last question
songs
we got
too.
for you
Like
then is
it's
when it comes to length of workout, we got those short sprints. You kind of got that intermediate, like 8 to 12 minute deal. And then you got those long workouts. Which length is your favorite?
well, it also kind of depends on what movement's being programmed on whether I want it to be short or long. But I think in general, I definitely like the mid to longer range workouts. Things that require a bit more endurance because I'm very confident in my endurance these days or in most of the movements. So I feel like I can keep it up for when it comes to the sprints. That's more of a mental game for me, honestly. Like I know for the long ones, like it does get to a point where I don't want to do this anymore, but that's easier for me to overcome than the mental obstacle with those sprints to where it's like I can't breathe. Yes, you can. That sort of balancing on the line of panic.
Absolutely. It's different levels of discomfort and even pain with some
Mhm.
of that. With those sprints, it's that hard, kind of sharp, short pain. And then for the longer one, it's kind of like that more grindy, achy, like can you breathe long enough and stay
Mhm.
in it type of thing. So different types of challenge. But yeah, the
Exactly.
endurance piece certainly helps with the middle to long range workouts. Well,
Yeah.
Blair, it's been awesome getting a chance to catch up, know you just a little bit more. I know we've very appreciative and grateful for having you as a part of the team since the inception, since the beginning, and look forward to seeing how you can continue to work on the skills and continue to grow with greater culture.
Yeah. I'm excited too.